Oh boy, we have to talk about that. Lay All Your Love on Me is an effortless, straight disco dance track. Or is it? Isn't this one of those incredibly complex and fascinating ABBA songs? A conglomeration full of different layers and ideas. In today's episode, we will explore this song and what makes ABBA so unique. Hey! So, Lay All Your Love on Me was released as a brand new Dolby Atmos mix in February this year, 2025. It is transported into surround sound. That gives us several different layers from the original recording. So today we have to listen to some glorious revelations. But for that, we also have to learn about the background of this song and the recording to really understand the structure and complexity, not only of this song, but of ABBA's general approach. Let's dive into the creation of Lay All Your Love on Me, arguably one of ABBA's most celebrated songs today. The song was recorded in 1980. It started as a hymn played by Benny on his Yamaha GX1 synthesizer, but only the chorus. The verse was written at a different point in time, independent from each other.
Sometimes it can be an old idea that we had from 3 years back, and then suddenly we come up with something else that goes very well together.
So Björn and Benny felt that it works so well together, so they had the idea to mash it together into a dance-oriented, disco-reminiscent track. And thus, they had this addictive contrast of a verse in full tempo and a chorus in half tempo, which is sung like a church chanting. ABBA is also known for another contrast, known to have this fascinating oxymoron. They work small, almost minimalistic. They generally use a very limited number of musicians in the studio and only their own voices, and yet they create these huge, grandiose soundscapes. And this song is a prime example for all of that. And that's important for our first snippet. This is the verse without vocals and without any additional instruments. It's all Benny. It shows the staccato synthesizer, those rhythmic, very short notes, as well as strings, also played on synthesizer, and those beautiful flute melodies, also played on synthesizer. So in this snippet, everything we hear is virtually Benny Andersson on keyboards.
Oh, I love my synthesizers. There's so many good things around these days. You can do anything. As I don't write or read music, I use the synthesizers to add on the records what an orchestra would do otherwise.
On Lay All Your Love on Me, the band only consists of Benny Andersson on keyboards, Lasse Welander on guitar, Rutger Gunnarsson on bass, and Ola Brunkert on drums. But I need to play the first part of that snippet again. I love that melody of the flute. Without the vocals, we can really focus on the flute played on synthesizer, and that feeling comes across even more. It is so melancholic, but with that blink of hope. And to my ears, this melody also has some oriental vibes, Indian perhaps. The song was written under the working title Yarafat. What seems like a dance track has so many other ingredients embedded, again so typical for ABBA's melodic variety. A church-like hymn, Indian flavors, and even some hidden melodies reminiscent of a classical fugue. But on the surface, the song points towards dance music of the 1980s. and that genre became characteristic for the use of electronic sequencers. But on ABBA's song, this is not a programmed sequence. What seems like a synthesizer sequence is actually played manually by Benny on his Mini Moog. So Benny plays it live throughout the whole song. Maybe that makes it come even more alive and more human. It gives it more of a natural touch, even though the song is so synth heavy. On top of that, we have that palette of organic instruments like the terrific bass lines of ABBA's legend Rutger Gunnarsson. This blending of organic sounds and electronically driven sounds is also applied to the vocals. Again, vocally, ABBA's songs sound so majestic, full of choirs, and yet they only ever use their very own voices for all of their songs. The only exception is the children's choir on I Have a Dream and Little Things.
Also doing the choir ourselves, we do everything ourselves with our voices. Try to change it all the time.
For the chorus of Lay All Your Love on Me, ABBA overdubbed the chanting over and over again to get a feeling of a large church congregation. And then there is this descending vocal sound just before the chorus starts. For that, ABBA used the harmonizer. They put one note through it several times, lowered each note, and created a huge echo of vocal sounds. The idea for this descending vocal sound was simply because they wanted it to sound a little different, so they spent a lot of time with this, but Benny said it never came out quite the way they wanted it, never really what it should have been, but it is still one of those very unique features of the song. But on top of those harmonizer creations, they put the natural, organic vocals of Agnetha. Let's listen to those.
Think of you. I beg you, dear. What can I do?
Combined with the descending vocal bed, we have this huge wall of vocals, which is a perfect transition to the chorus, which itself is that huge wall of church-like singing, so it all hangs together so well. There is an alternate mix in the archives, where the descending vocals before the chorus have even more echo, and they travel throughout the stereo spectrum from left to right and back again. But that mix was never released. All of these information, the whole research for the song itself, come from Carl Magnus Palm and his book ABBA, The Complete Recording Sessions. The final mix, as we know it, became the penultimate track on ABBA's initially penultimate album, Super Trooper. Lay All Your Love on Me is actually one of the very few exceptions of an up-tempo dance track on an album which is largely introspective and melancholic. In 1983, the song was one of 4 songs that was mixed by ABBA's sound engineer Michael Bidretov into an extended dance remix, but it was never released. The other songs were The Visitors, Take a Chance on Me, and On and On and On. They were all described as very 1980s, with staccato editing of sounds and other features typical for the times. But again, those remixes remain unreleased to this day. Today, Lay All Your Love on Me seems to be one of ABBA's most popular songs. The lyric video, which was newly created in 2022, is by far the most successful of all of ABBA's new lyric videos on their YouTube channel. It is number 1 with 71 million views. As a comparison, the second most successful one is Chiquitita, but only with 33 million, followed by Dancing Queen with 14 million. Again, Lay All Your Love on Me has 71 million views. In ABBA's Voyage show in London, this song is part of the setlist. Back in the day, it was never performed by ABBA anywhere, and it didn't even receive a properly filmed music video. So that makes the inclusion and performance in ABBA Voyage even more special. ABBA finally went on stage during the 5-week motion capture for the show, and they created not only a performance for the song, but in my opinion, an amazing performance. For me, Lay All Your Love on Me was one of the very big highlights of the show. And this new Dolby Atmos mix was yet another highlight for me. It's the third song from ABBA's classic back catalogue that was released on the new Dolby Atmos format. Last year, they released Waterloo and Gimme 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 A Man After Midnight, which we discussed both on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode and the dissection of one of ABBA's most celebrated songs, one which is full of layers, inspirations and melodies, full of contrasts, and yet it is one of their most effortless, most straightforward.
The most important thing is that we know by now that we have made very many people happy with our music. And I mean, that's something that means a lot.